only thing between you and millions was your imagination, would you dare to believe it's already yours? I ask you, what if the only thing standing between you and millions is your own imagination? Would you dare to believe that wealth is not something to chase, but something to become? Would you have the courage to assume at this very moment that you are already rich beyond measure? The world teaches you that money is earned through struggle, that financial success is granted only to the lucky or the privileged. You have been told that wealth is a result of external forces, circumstances, opportunities, and chance. But I tell you, wealth is not found outside of you. It is not in the stock market, not in business deals, not in economic conditions. Wealth is within you, and it is waiting for you to claim it. All things already exist. The version of you who possesses millions is not in some distant future. It is here now. The only question is whether you will assume this reality as your own. You do not manifest wealth by wishing for it, hoping for it, or working tirelessly toward it while holding on to thoughts of lack. You manifest wealth by being it first in consciousness. When you accept the feeling of financial abundance, when you embody the certainty that it is already yours, the world will move to make it so. Your imagination is the key. It is the tool by which you shift from one state of being to another. If you persist in imagining yourself as already wealthy, then wealth must appear in your world. Not because you are forcing it, not because you are seeking it, but because the law decrees that what you assume to be true will become true. You must understand that money is not something separate from you. It is not an object to be gained, but an expression of your inner state. If you assume yourself to be wealthy, then the world will reflect that assumption back to you. If you assume yourself to be in lack, then lack will continue to follow you. Your only responsibility is to remain faithful to the assumption that you are already financially abundant. How do you do this? Begin by asking yourself, if I had already won millions, how would I feel? Not tomorrow, not someday, but right now. What would change in the way you carry yourself? Would your thoughts be filled with worry, or would they be filled with ease? Would you wake up anxious, or would you wake up excited, knowing that your financial freedom is already secured? The key is not to wait for wealth to arrive before adopting this state of being. The key is to adopt the state first, and wealth will follow. Many make the mistake of looking to the outside world for proof before they believe. They wait for the money to appear before they allow themselves to feel rich. But this is not how the law works. The outer world is only a reflection of the inner world. It is a mirror, and a mirror does not change until you change the image before it. So you must become the person who has already won millions. You must think, feel, and act as if financial abundance is already yours. Walk through life with the certainty that you are already successful. Speak as though you have already received the wealth you desire. Let your entire being vibrate with the energy of financial freedom. And when doubt arises, do not give in to it. Remain steadfast in your assumption. The greatest transformations happen when you refuse to be moved by appearances. Even if your bank account shows little, even if your circumstances seem unchanged, do not waver in your assumption. Do not return to old patterns of lack and limitation. Hold on to the state of already being rich, and reality will have no choice but to conform. The subconscious mind is always listening, always accepting whatever you impress upon it. If you continuously affirm, I am already wealthy, and if you genuinely feel the truth of those words, your subconscious will move mountains to make it so. It will guide you toward the right opportunities, lead you to the right people, and open doors you never even knew existed. But it is not your job to force the how. It is only your job to assume the end. Fall asleep each night with the feeling of financial abundance. As you drift into unconsciousness, imagine yourself in a world where money is no longer a concern. See yourself living in the house of your dreams, traveling to places you've always wanted to see, experiencing the freedom that comes with wealth. Let these thoughts become more real to you than your current reality, and soon they will be. This is the power that has always been within you. The ability to assume, to persist, and to claim your desired reality as true. You do not need to earn your wealth. It already exists. You do not need to prove yourself worthy of it. You already are. The only thing required of you is to accept it as done. Act as if you have already won millions, and soon the millions will be yours. Every fortune, every success, every manifestation begins in the mind. It is not the physical act of labor that creates wealth, nor is it the external circumstances that dictate abundance. It is the state of consciousness that one assumes and persists in. The moment you accept, without question, that financial abundance is already yours, the world will be forced to reflect that assumption. There is no separation between you and wealth, except the illusion that it is something outside of you, something to be attained, rather than something to be accepted. If you can assume the state of already possessing great wealth, if you can feel with certainty what it would be like to know that money is no longer a concern, then you will have taken the first step toward its realization. You must train yourself to move beyond appearances, beyond circumstances, and into the world of imagination, where all things are already finished. Everything you have ever experienced has been the result of your own assumptions. Whether knowingly or unknowingly, you have shaped your financial reality by what you have believed to be true about money. If you have lived in a state of lack, it is because you have assumed lack to be real. If you have struggled, it is because you have persisted in the belief that wealth is difficult to attain. But the moment you shift your assumption, the moment you fully accept financial abundance as your present reality, the world will adjust to match your new state. To do this, you must go beyond mere words. You must go beyond mere affirmations. It is not enough to say, I am wealthy, if in the depths of your being, you still feel poor. It is the feeling of wealth that must be claimed, not just the words. How would it feel if you had already won millions? How would it feel to know that your financial freedom is already secured? What emotions would arise? What sense of relief, what joy, what confidence would fill you? It is this feeling that must be assumed and sustained, for it is feeling that impresses upon the subconscious mind and calls forth the manifestation. You must live in this state, not just for a moment, not just when it is convenient, but until it becomes your natural dwelling place. You must think from the state of wealth, not of it. You must carry yourself as though financial abundance is already yours. Your words, your thoughts, your actions must align with the assumption that you are already in possession of great riches. There can be no hesitation, no questioning, no waiting for proof. The proof will come only after the assumption is made and held unwaveringly. The subconscious mind does not argue, it does not question, it does not reason. It simply accepts what is impressed upon it. If you impress upon it the feeling of wealth, it will reorganize your world to match that assumption. It will guide you toward the right opportunities, align you with the right people, and shape events in ways beyond your comprehension to bring about the fulfillment of your assumption. But it cannot work if you waver. It cannot bring about abundance if you continue to dwell in thoughts of scarcity. The greatest test is to remain faithful to the unseen reality, even when the outer world seems unchanged. This is where most fail. They allow circumstances to dictate their assumptions, rather than using their assumptions to dictate their circumstances. They look at an empty bank account and reaffirm lack. They look at financial struggles and assume struggle must continue. But those who understand the law do not look to the world for validation. They know that the world is only a reflection of past assumptions. They do not react to appearances. They create appearances by assuming the state they desire. You must become indifferent to the evidence of the senses. You must hold steadfast to the reality that exists in your imagination, knowing that what you assume today will solidify into form tomorrow. The moment you fully accept the feeling of wealth as your present reality, even in the absence of physical proof, is the moment your financial transformation begins. To strengthen this assumption, you must engage your imagination with complete conviction. Close your eyes and enter a scene that implies your wealth is already yours. See yourself receiving the news that millions have entered your account. Feel the excitement, the gratitude, the absolute knowing that you are now financially free. Hear the voices of others congratulating you. Walk through your dream home in your mind. Touch the furniture, smell the air. Feel the security of unlimited financial resources. The more vivid the scene, the more real it becomes, and the more effortlessly it will be externalized in your world. The subconscious mind does not know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. It accepts whatever is impressed upon it as truth. If you continuously occupy the state of already being wealthy, if you fall asleep each night in the feeling of financial abundance, if you refuse to accept any state that contradicts your desired reality, then wealth must manifest in your life. This is law. This is certainty. It is not ambition that brings riches. It is not effort alone that creates financial success. It is assumption. It is the unwavering conviction that wealth is already yours. Those who have great fortunes may not always realize it, but they are simply living in the state of financial abundance, consciously or unconsciously. The difference between those who have wealth and those who do not is simply a matter of assumed identity. If you can assume that identity, if you can persist in that feeling, then you will have unlocked the only true secret to financial success. Let the outer world say what it will. Let circumstances appear as they may. Your task is only to hold firm in the assumption that you are already wealthy, to feel it so deeply that the world has no choice but to conform. This is how every fortune is made, not by chance, not by effort alone, but by the conscious assumption of wealth before it has appeared. Dare to assume, dare to persist, dare to claim the financial abundance that is already yours. Wealth is not something to be acquired, it is a state of being to be assumed. The mistake most people make is believing that money comes from external sources, that riches are earned only through hard work, effort, or luck. They look to circumstances, to business opportunities, to economic conditions, and to other people as the means by which wealth will enter their lives. But the truth is, money is not an effect of external actions. It is an effect of internal consciousness. The state you occupy, the assumptions you persist in, and the feelings you hold about financial abundance determine whether you experience wealth or lack. If you believe that money is scarce, that financial freedom is difficult to achieve, and that struggle is necessary for success, then the world will reflect those assumptions back to you with absolute precision. You will encounter endless obstacles, financial limitations, and a reality that confirms your belief in lack. But if you assume the state of already being wealthy, if you walk, think, and feel as though you have already won millions, then money will flow to you effortlessly, because the world must conform to the consciousness you occupy. Most people try to change their financial conditions without first changing their state of being. They take action after action, work tirelessly, and struggle against circumstances, all while holding on to the belief that wealth is beyond their reach. But effort alone does not bring riches. Assumption does. When you assume the feeling of already possessing great wealth, the subconscious mind accepts that assumption as truth. And once it is accepted, it must externalize itself in the form of opportunities, ideas, and financial abundance. You must understand that the world outside of you is not separate from your consciousness. It is a reflection of what you believe to be true. The financial state you experience today is not a result of chance or circumstance. It is the result of the assumptions you have persistently held about money. If you have lived in financial struggle, it is because you have unconsciously assumed struggle to be your reality. If you have experienced scarcity, It is because you have accepted the idea that money is difficult to obtain. But if you shift your assumption, if you decide that financial freedom is already yours, then everything in your life will begin to change. The assumption of wealth is not a passive wish. It is a deliberate choice to enter a state of consciousness where abundance is already a reality. You must become the person who already possesses great riches, not just in words, but in feeling. How would you move through the world if you had already 1 million? How would you carry yourself if financial security were already guaranteed? Would you still feel anxious about bills? Would you still hesitate when spending money? Would you still entertain thoughts of limitation? The key is to embody the state of wealth now, before any physical evidence appears. To do this, you must train yourself to think from the reality of already being financially abundant. Instead of waiting for money to show up before you feel secure, you must assume the feeling of security now. Instead of looking at your bank account for confirmation of wealth, you must feel wealthy regardless of what the numbers say. It is this inner conviction, this unwavering belief in financial abundance, that causes money to flow effortlessly into your life. The subconscious mind responds to feeling. It does not respond to mere words, nor does it recognize effort alone. It responds only to the dominant state you occupy. If you constantly affirm, "I am wealthy," but deep down you still feel poor, then the subconscious will respond to the feeling, not the words. This is why assumption must be total. It must be felt with every fiber of your being. You must step into the reality of already possessing wealth and refuse to entertain any thought that contradicts it. You do not need to concern yourself with how the money will come. The path to wealth will be revealed naturally, effortlessly, as a result of your assumption. The subconscious mind will move events, people, and circumstances in perfect order to align with the reality you have claimed. You may find yourself inspired to take a certain action, to meet the right person, to stumble upon an opportunity you never considered, but these external events are only effects. The true cause is the state you have assumed. The greatest mistake is looking to the outer world for proof before committing to the assumption. Those who fail to manifest wealth are those who waver in their belief, constantly checking their circumstances to see if money has arrived. They allow doubt to creep in, and in doing so, they cancel out their assumption. But those who succeed are those who remain faithful to the unseen reality. They know that the world is merely a reflection of the inner state, and they refuse to let temporary appearances shake their conviction. If financial abundance has not yet appeared in your life, it is only because you have not fully assumed it as your present reality. The moment you make the shift, the moment you claim the feeling of already being wealthy and persist in that feeling, the world will adjust to match your assumption. Wealth will come in ways you cannot predict, through channels you never considered, and with an effortlessness that defies logic. You are not waiting for millions to arrive. You are simply waiting to assume the state in which they already exist. The sooner you step into that reality, the sooner it will become visible in your world. Wealth is not outside of you. It is not something to be earned or acquired. It is something to be claimed, something to be assumed, something to be felt as already done. The moment you do this, the moment you refuse to accept any other reality, you will see financial abundance unfold before you as naturally as the rising of the sun. Money is not the cause of your wealth. Your assumption of wealth is the cause of money. The world teaches you that financial success comes from effort, from struggle, from carefully planned actions. But effort alone does not create wealth. The true secret lies in the state of being you assume. If you believe that money is difficult to attain, that financial security is reserved for the fortunate few, then that belief becomes your reality. But if you assume that you are already in possession of great wealth, if you walk, think, and feel as though your financial freedom is a present fact, then the world will be compelled to make that assumption true. Everything begins with assumption. If you were to act as if you already possessed millions, how would your state of mind change? Would you continue to feel anxious about money? Or would you move with confidence, knowing that all your financial needs are met? Would you still doubt your ability to generate wealth? Or would you trust that opportunities will come effortlessly to you? The key is not to wait for money to arrive before adopting this state of being. You must assume it first, and money will follow. You must train yourself to reject any thought that contradicts the reality you wish to experience. If you desire wealth, you must refuse to entertain the idea of scarcity. You must deny the illusion that money is hard to come by, that financial struggles are unavoidable, that wealth belongs only to others. The only reality that matters is the one you accept as true. And the moment you assume the feeling of already being financially abundant, your external world will shift to reflect that assumption. Many people make the mistake of believing that their current financial situation is fixed, that their bank account defines their wealth. But the truth is, your financial state is only the reflection of past assumptions. It is not permanent. It is not unchangeable. It is simply the effect of the consciousness you have previously occupied. If you desire to see a new reality, you must first assume a new state. You must act as though you have already won millions, not by spending recklessly or pretending, but by feeling the certainty of wealth within you. Your subconscious mind does not recognize the difference between what is real and what is imagined. It accepts whatever you impress upon it as truth. If you consistently assume the feeling of already being wealthy, if you hold on to that state regardless of external circumstances, your subconscious will work tirelessly to make that assumption a physical fact. You will be guided to the right opportunities. You will receive unexpected financial blessings, and money will flow into your life in ways beyond your comprehension. But none of this can happen if you continue to dwell in the state of lack. Most people believe they must see results before they can feel wealthy. But this is a fundamental misunderstanding of how reality works. You do not wait for wealth to appear before adopting the mindset of abundance. You adopt the mindset of abundance, and wealth appears as a natural consequence. If you continuously check your bank account, looking for proof before committing to the assumption, you will only reinforce the state of lack. The key is to remain faithful to the unseen reality, to persist in the feeling of already having wealth, even when the physical world seems unchanged. Imagination is the gateway to your future reality. If you wish to experience financial freedom, you must first experience it in your mind. Close your eyes and enter a scene where your wealth is already secured. See yourself living in the home of your dreams, traveling freely, giving generously, and enjoying the complete ease that comes with financial abundance. Let the scene be so vivid, so real, that it becomes more convincing than your present circumstance. As you persist in this assumption, as you return to this feeling day after day, reality will rearrange itself to reflect your new state of being. Doubt is the only barrier between you and the wealth you desire. If you waver in your assumption, if you question whether this process truly works, then you are allowing old beliefs to take hold once more. But if you can hold firm in the conviction that you are already wealthy, if you can refuse to be moved by temporary appearances, then your assumption must become reality. The world is nothing more than a mirror, reflecting back the state you occupy. If you live in the feeling of already having millions, then millions will come to you as effortlessly as water flows to the ocean. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are not at the mercy of the economy, of opportunity, or of chance. You are the creator of your own financial reality, and the only requirement for manifesting wealth is the ability to assume it as true before it appears. Act as if you already possess the financial abundance you seek, and soon it will be yours. There is a truth that many people overlook, a truth that holds the key to a life of abundance. It is not the world that determines your financial state, nor is it the economy, nor the circumstances that surround you. The key to abundance is found within you, within the heart that dares to believe, within the soul that trusts in the unseen. You see, too many live in fear of lack, afraid they will not have enough, bound by the limitations of what they see before them. But I tell you today, if you can lift your eyes beyond the present, if you can believe in the reality of God's provision, you will see that abundance has already been given to you. Throughout history, men and women who walked in faith understood this great principle. They knew that wealth was not merely a matter of hard work, nor was it the result of luck. It was a matter of belief. When they set their minds on the promise of abundance, when they trusted that provision had already been made for them, they walked into the blessings that were already prepared. The problem is never with God's ability to provide. It is always with our willingness to believe. How often do we look at our circumstances and doubt? How often do we let fear take root in our hearts, convincing us that we will never have enough? But the Word teaches us that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. That means we are called to believe before we see. We are called to trust in God's provision, even when there is no physical sign of it. Because the reality is, everything we need has already been set in motion. All we have to do is step into it by faith. I ask you today, how would you live if you knew, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that God had already provided for you? How would you walk if you truly believed that financial abundance was already yours? Would you continue to live in fear? Would you continue to worry? Or would you step forward in confidence, knowing that every need is already met? That is the difference between those who walk in abundance and those who do not. It is not their circumstances that separate them. It is their belief. Those who walk in faith do not look at the world's economy for their provision. They do not place their trust in man's ability to provide. They place their trust in God, who has promised to supply all our needs according to his riches in glory. The greatest mistake we can make is to let doubt take root. Doubt will rob you of your blessings. Doubt will keep you locked in a state of lack, even when the doors of abundance have already been opened before you. But faith will lift you beyond what you can see. Faith will allow you to walk in the provision that has already been made for you. And that is why I say to you today, do not wait to see before you believe. Believe now. Walk in that belief. Live in that faith, and you will see doors open that no man can shut. Some may say, but I have struggled for so long. I have seen nothing but hardship. How can I believe in abundance when my life has shown me only lack? To that I say this, your past does not define your future. What you have seen does not limit what God can do. If you would dare to believe, if you would dare to trust that abundance is already yours, you would see things begin to change. You would see opportunities arise that you never imagined. You would see provision come in unexpected ways. But it all begins with faith. The world will tell you to rely on logic, to trust only in what you can see, but faith calls you to something higher. Faith calls you to believe in what is yet unseen, to trust that what God has promised will come to pass. And that is why I say to you today, if you desire to walk in financial abundance, you must first walk in the belief that it is already done. You must step into the identity of one who has already received. You must carry yourself with the confidence that comes from knowing that your provision is already secure. You do not need to wait for circumstances to change before you step into this belief. You do not need to wait for wealth to appear before you act like one who is blessed. If you believe it now, if you trust in it now, you will see it manifest in your life. Because faith is not about waiting, it is about walking. Walking in confidence, walking in trust, walking as if the promise is already fulfilled. And when you do that, when you refuse to let doubt take hold, you will see the abundance of God unfold before you in ways you never imagined. This is the truth that has been given to us. This is the promise that stands firm. The question is not whether God has provided. The question is whether you will believe. The question is whether you will step into the abundance that is already yours. And I tell you today, if you will only dare to believe, if you will only step forward in faith, if you will live as though the blessing has already come, then you will see the fullness of that blessing in your life. Because faith is the key. Faith is the doorway. Faith is the foundation upon which all abundance stands. If you believe it, if you claim it, if you walk in it, then nothing can keep you from the abundance that has already been given to you. There is a truth that so many overlook, a truth that has the power to change everything. It is not the size of your bank account that determines your wealth. It is not the job you hold, nor the economy, nor the circumstances that surround you. The truth is the way you see yourself, the way you think about yourself, the way you believe in what is possible. That is what shapes your reality. The world will tell you that money comes from hard work alone, from chance, from external forces. But I tell you today, abundance begins within. It begins with the way you see yourself. It begins with the image you hold in your mind, the belief you carry in your heart. If you see yourself as lacking, if you believe you are struggling, if you constantly think about what you do not have, then that is the reality that will manifest in your life. But if you see yourself as blessed, if you believe that abundance is already yours, if you carry yourself as someone who has already received the fullness of financial prosperity, then the world will begin to reflect that truth. The way you see yourself determines what you will receive. You cannot expect to walk in wealth while seeing yourself as poor. You cannot expect to receive abundance while believing in scarcity. The image you hold of yourself is the key to the life you will live. Throughout history, those who have walked in abundance understood this great truth. They did not wait for wealth to appear before believing in it. They believed first. They carried themselves as though their financial success was already a reality. They did not allow doubt to take root. They did not speak words of lack. They spoke words of faith, words of abundance, words of victory. And in time, the world conformed to that belief. The world had no choice but to mirror the image they held within. I ask you today, what image do you hold of yourself? Do you see yourself as someone struggling, someone waiting, someone hoping that one day things will get better? Or do you see yourself as someone who has already received? Do you see yourself as financially secure, as blessed beyond measure, as someone who walks in the provision that has already been made? Because the truth is, what you see within is what you will see without. The vision you hold of yourself in your mind is the blueprint for your life. If you want to change your reality, you must first change the way you see yourself. So many people make the mistake of waiting for external proof before they believe. They look at their bank account, they look at their circumstances, and they say, I will believe in abundance when I see it. But faith does not work that way. Faith calls you to believe before you see. Faith calls you to walk in the reality of your blessings, even when there is no physical evidence. And when you do that, when you refuse to be moved by what the world tells you, when you hold onto the vision of abundance no matter what, the world must align with that vision. It is not a question of if it will happen. It is a certainty. It is a law. As surely as the sun rises in the east, the world must conform to the image you hold of yourself. Some may say, but I have struggled for years. How can I see myself as wealthy when I have lived in lack? To that I say this: your past does not define your future. What you have seen in the past does not limit what is possible for you now. If you can change the way you see yourself, if you can lift your eyes above your circumstances and hold on to the vision of abundance, then everything will begin to change. Doors will open that you never imagined. Opportunities will appear in ways you could not have predicted. But it all begins with how you see yourself. The enemy of abundance is doubt. Doubt will whisper to you, telling you that you are not enough, that wealth is for others but not for you. Doubt will make you look at your circumstances and say, this is just the way things are. But I tell you today, Do not listen to doubt. Do not let fear take root in your heart. Stand firm in the belief that abundance is already yours. Stand firm in the conviction that you were created to walk in financial blessing. Because when you stand in faith, when you hold on to the image of yourself as already wealthy, as already blessed, as already walking in financial freedom, then nothing can keep you from the reality of that blessing. You must act as if you have already received, not in foolishness, not in reckless spending, but in faith. You must carry yourself as someone who has already won. You must walk with confidence, speak with certainty, move through life with the assurance that abundance is already yours. Because the truth is, wealth is not something that comes from outside of you. It is something that flows through you. And it flows through you in accordance with what you believe, with the image you hold of yourself, with the words you speak and the thoughts you entertain. The world will tell you to wait. It will tell you to be realistic, to be cautious, to only believe in what you can see. But I tell you today, do not wait. Do not wait for circumstances to change before you change your belief. Do not wait for wealth to appear before you see yourself as wealthy. See yourself as blessed now, because the moment you change the way you see yourself, the moment you claim the truth of financial freedom in your heart, that is the moment everything will begin to shift. The power to create a life of abundance is already within you. The only question is, will you believe it? Will you hold on to the vision of yourself as already blessed? Will you walk in faith, even when the world tries to tell you otherwise? If you can do that, if you can refuse to be moved by circumstances and hold on to the truth of who you are, then you will see the reality of abundance unfold before you. Not someday, not in the distant future, but now. Because the moment you change the image you hold of yourself, the world will have no choice but to reflect that truth back to you. You have heard the truth, a truth that has the power to transform your life. Abundance is not something outside of you, something you must chase, something reserved for a select few. It is already within you, waiting for you to claim it, waiting for you to step into the reality that has always been yours. The world will tell you that wealth is earned only through struggle, that success is dependent on external circumstances, that financial freedom is for others but not for you. But you now know that this is not so. Wealth begins in the mind. Prosperity is born in belief. What you assume to be true will manifest in your life. If you can see yourself as already blessed, if you can believe in your abundance even when there is no physical evidence, then the world must conform to that belief. If you can act as though you have already won, if you can move with the certainty that all your needs are met, if you can reject doubt and refuse to entertain lack, then you will step into the life you desire. Because the truth is, you are not a victim of circumstances. You are the creator of your reality. You are not bound by past failures or financial struggles. The moment you change your assumption, your world will change with it. Faith does not wait for proof. Faith does not hesitate, does not waver, does not require signs before believing. Faith knows, faith trusts, and faith always receives. You are called to walk by faith, to see yourself not as one who hopes for abundance, but as one who already possesses it. You must reject the illusion of lack and hold firm to the truth that wealth is already yours. Speak words of abundance, think thoughts of prosperity. Carry yourself as one who is already victorious. And as surely as night follows day, you will see your world transform. This is the law of creation, the law of assumption, the law that governs all things. If you dare to believe, if you dare to trust in what is unseen, if you dare to act as if you have already received, then nothing can keep you from the life of wealth and freedom that is already yours. Now the choice is before you. Will you continue to see yourself as lacking, or will you rise in faith and claim the abundance that has always been waiting for you? The moment you decide, the moment you know it is already done, your world will change. Because what you assume, you become. What you believe, you receive. And what you claim as true will always, always be made real.